President Bola Tinubu has condemned the recent violent attacks in Plateau State, resulting in numerous deaths and injuries. He extended his condolences to Governor Caleb Mutfwang, the state government, and the people of Plateau, emphasizing the need for lasting peace in the region. The president urged Governor Mutfwang to summon the necessary political will to resolve the crisis and establish enduring peace. He stressed the importance of unity, love beyond ethnic and religious differences, encouraging community, spiritual, and political leaders to join forces to end the cycle of retaliatory attacks that have plagued the state for years. President Tinubu also directed security agencies to thoroughly investigate the crisis and identify those responsible for orchestrating the violent acts. He assured Governor Mutfwang and Plateau State government of the federal government's commitment to promoting dialogue, social cohesion, and accountability in resolving the conflict. Joining us via Zoom for this conversation is the executive chairman of Agatu local government area of Benue State, security consultant and conflict mediator, Melvin Eje. Melvin, good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, it's a sad tale that we're getting from Plateau State once again. In less than 2 weeks, about 100 persons are said to have died as a result of the security challenges there. And the governor has come out to apologize to the people for his government's failure to, ensuring that they protect them and their properties. From your perspective, what do you think the government and the governor could have done differently to addressing this issue? Because even the president has told the governor to summon the political will to address this issue.
Thank you very much, TVC, and thank you, Nigerian, for always giving me this platform to speak out on issues of national security, particularly Plateau State and other parts of the country. I think the president directive is the president condensed message came with a very clear directive to the governor to summon the political will. While others seems to fault that comment for political reasons and other reasons, I don't see anywhere the president is wrong in that directive. That statement does not look nonchalant. It doesn't look as if he doesn't care. That's a fatherly statement, because as a governor, the buck stops on his table in terms of summoning political courage to solve these issues. This whole thing happened on the plateau today, for me, I think it has to do a lot with politics, it has to do with farmer assessment conflict, it has to do with terrorism, outright terrorism on the plateau. So I think the governor needs to lead the role in bringing these issues to an end. While I must commend Mutfwang to be courageous enough to apologize to his people, that is the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do any plan in the world, because it's a very failure of government in this area, particularly government at all levels needs to wake up to protect the lives of citizens. The lives of human beings is no longer worthy in Plateau State. We have several people that have been killed in their cold blood, women and children who are killed in their sleep. This is barbaric. This is not civilized, and I think this should be condemned by all Nigerians. So I think the president is right for issues of directive. Governor Mutfwang needs to lead the way. I want to commend him strongly because he's really doing his best. Most governors are not as serious as Governor Mutfwang. Governor Mutfwang is doing so much in terms of this insecurity. I think it should be commendable. But one thing he must do, again, like the president directed, is to summon political courage. Whoever needs to be kept behind bars should be kept behind bars. Whoever needs to be exposed should be exposed. Whoever needs to be arrested should be arrested. I think that's what the president directed. And he must be courageous enough to call all the parties together, because in this conflict, only talking can solve it. The barrier of guns can't solve it all. You can't solve the barrier of guns. No matter how much you try, we don't have the sufficient truth. Look at the effort of Operation Safe Haven. The men are so good. They tried their best. They were so professional. The commander personally led his men to every nook and cranny of the Plateau State. But what do? They cannot cover everywhere. The terrains are very porous. They are hilly. There are areas you can access within 1 hour. So naturally, this criminal take advantage of these areas that are not accessible. So I think the best way to resolve this conflict is to sit down together and talk, and look at what the issues, because there are truly issues, and this issue needs to be looked at holistically. So I think the president is right for issuing such directive.
All right, anybody that knows anything about what is going on knows that Governor Mutfwang is not just sitting down and being a governor. He's really working to see the end of this. But can he do more, taking into consideration that he doesn't have the authority to summon the troops, the authority to push the intelligence architecture we have in Nigeria as fast as he would have if he had some authority over them. What do you think he should do more as directed by the president?
I think the president's directive is very clear. He asked him to summon the political will, not the intelligent will, and not to deploy troops. The issue of deployment of troops lies squarely with the presidency. The federal government has taken decisive action immediately after those attacks. The federal government deployed very senior officers led by the National Security Advisor to Plateau State. The Chief of Army Staff was in Plateau State. The IG was also in Plateau State yesterday. What could the serious president have done? Of course, the presidents have taken action, and I'm sure if the president were at home, the president would have personally visited Plateau State. So what is left now, like the president clearly said, is the political will. Governor Mutfwang should be courageous enough to expose whoever. Like I commended him only recently that he's one of the best governors I've ever seen. He's very concerned about his people, he's humane, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing. But he needs to take one more step forward, go to the nitty-gritty, build local intelligence in those communities, because one of the things that is lacking on the plateau is local intelligence. He must deploy men of Operation Rainbow to the nitty-gritty of those communities to always fish out intelligence and deploy to the security agencies, because until they get the required intelligence, they can't do otherwise. Until they get the required intelligence, they can't do otherwise. Like I said, I just commended Operation Wise Troop. They did so much. What I heard about the response, I personally monitored everything that happened in the place. The Wise troops were very wonderful. They were very wonderful, and they were all in the community. But the response time is long because of the terrain. But if they have gotten the required intelligence, they would have responded more faster. So what I'm urging the movement to do is to build local intelligence and to have the courage to speak to stakeholders. Call a spade a spade. Whoever is involved, the sponsors, the perpetrators of this conflict must be arrested. You must take both steps. You must name them. You must go beyond just trying. Of course, he's trying. You can't take that from Governor Mutfwang. He's a fantastic governor, very fantastic governor. But I think he must be bold enough to look at people's faces and say, look, you are wrong. Look, you are not right.
Okay, I know that we've spoken several times that he's been doing something. We've seen him pay solidarity to a lot of the families that have been affected. But it's apparent that he's not really doing enough if we want to be realistic, because the attacks keep happening. Now, my question is, at what point will he start mentioning names? And at what point do we deal with the root of this matter to make sure that we don't wake up one morning and hear that more people have been killed?
I think for me, as a security consultant and someone who is very familiar with conflict on the plateau, I know for sure that the issue in Plateau State has to do with criminality. Most of the killing in Plateau State is absolute criminality. And until we nip this criminality in the bud, this crisis won't stop. If we don't talk, if we don't have conversation across all the divide, let me assure you of something. I agree with Mutfwang that these people are sponsored terrorists who come to attack the community. But there are local issues that led to this terrorist coming in. There are issues of disagreement between the farmers and herders, we have to call a spade, that are not resolved. There are several unresolved issues that ought to have been resolved that are not resolved. And that is why these outside assailants are allowed to come in. They don't just come in. They don't know our terrains. They don't know the plateau terrain. They cannot just come in. They are invited. So some of these localities need to be resolved. And that's why the governor must sit down, critically look at, purge his architecture, security architecture, and call spade a spade, call names. Mutfwang is doing so well. I'm not just praising him. If he's not doing so well, I will lash him here on this platform. The governor is doing so well. He's doing so well to keep Plateau safe. But I think he needs to take further steps to the government directive. The governor knows more than all of us in this crisis. He has the right briefing. He's getting daily briefing on this crisis. So for the president to have directed that the governor must summon political will to reconcile all parties, to sit with all parties. And also, the communities also are complicit. Most of our communities are complicit. As the local government chairman, I must tell you for free that most of these crimes are committed by criminals. But when they are committed, people don't hear them. People don't hear them at all. So the communities must be willing, the chiefs must all be taxed to expose criminals within that domain. The major causes of conflict in our community are criminals. And I think we must all face criminals and face them head on.
Well, if you look at state and local governments, one thing that is very common with them is that they complain about being sidelines in Nigeria's security architecture. Because if you look at Section 214 of the 1999 Constitution, it vested the power of security architecture in the hands of the federal government. So the federal government controls the Nigerian military, the Nigerian police, etc. But we have something of Amotekun in the southwest, some parts of the southwest, and some other security designs in Lagos and other places. Do you think it's time for us to now speak to the advocacy of state police?
I mean, not completely key into the issue of state police, but I think I'm going to key into a form of community voluntary watch or community intelligence watch, as the case may call it. For the state police, I do not agree, because I think our federal police need to be strengthened. Our federal police need to be equipped. Who is going to fund the state police? Let me ask that question if we're talking about state police. Who is going to fund the state police?
But we have Security Trust Fund that is being done by states like Lagos State, for instance. There is Security Trust Fund where you have the private organizations coming in. You have government voting some amount of money. They also get security votes from the federal government. So what are we saying?
How many states have the capacity that Lagos State have? We have to be very realistic. Lagos State can go ahead and do anything in this country. Not too many states have the kind of capacity that Lagos have. So I think let's not deceive ourselves. Yes, I agree that there should be some form of intelligence. Like even in Plateau, we have something like Operation Rainbow. The state government should increase the funding. It should increase the ability in terms of technology. It should deploy more, get more community based so that it can serve that purpose. But I do not agree with state police. I'm not a proponent of state police. It won't work because the funds are not there. How do you purchase the arms of state police? Who is going to purchase the arms? Is it the governor? Is it the presidency? Or who is going to purchase the arms of the police? Arms are very expensive. I think we should strengthen the federal police as we have today. The Nigerian police today have the capacity to carry out any operation in Nigeria if well strengthened. So I do not agree with state police. But regional volunteer guard, regional neighborhood guard is very, very commendable. Like in my local government, I set up a very strong regional security outfit there, a local security outfit there. And it's really working in terms of intelligence. That's why you see that Agatu local government, where I've stayed for the past 6 months, have been peaceful for the first time in 13 years. So I think the bulk of security lies with the local government chairman. The local government chairman must take responsibility. Even as much as funding is not adequate for us, even as much as funding is a problem for the local government. Funding is never enough in Nigeria, but the little we have, we must take charge of security in our virus community. So I want to believe that state police is not the way to go, but I think there should be some form of local intelligence, there should be some form of vigilance. Let's strengthen our communities.
Interesting that you're looking at the need to localize security as much as possible so that it can come closer to the people. But I want to take you up on some of the things you mentioned earlier. And it is about the fact that you said it's a dialogue that can resolve this matter. And you have been following the issues in Plateau State security-wise, and the several times they've had conversation about these same issues. And I'm wondering what they need to say at this point that hasn't been said before. And if we're saying that the governor has done a lot to addressing the matters, how much longer does he need to take for him to mention names of those that are behind these issues if lives have been lost and we are saying he is doing well?
I think I insist that the governor is doing well. I insist the governor is doing well. And just like you rightly said, the issue of conversation. I'm aware there are conversations that have been going on. I'm also aware that several talks have gone out. I'm aware that several meetings have been held. But I think I will still encourage dialogue. This is what happened. Let me tell you what the typical of what happened. When these dialogues are held, stakeholders come together. Most stakeholders don't speak to the issue. They don't speak the truth. And that's why I encourage very small meetings, minute meetings, targeting as victims, targeting as perpetrators, so that you get the root fact of this conflict. When such large meetings are held in the state capitals, these criminals will still go back and perpetrate crime. Let me tell you this truth. The criminals are from the both divide. There's massive issue of capitalism going on in our community. There's massive issue of the headers of some of the headers, children taking advantage, killing people on the street. So, and that's why when each time I speak, I do not stereotype, because I don't want to generalize the fact that Fulani are the one killing people. I don't want to believe that Black people are the one doing retaliation. I narrow them to criminals. Because if we isolate these people from the both divide in our communities and face them as they are, the community comes together and face them as they are, we will not have this issue again. I'm telling you, I'm a local government chairman. We've had issues where, after having a meeting, some people will go to the bush and commit heinous crime. And when they commit this crime, the repercussion will fall back to the general community. It will fall back to innocent women and children. It will fall back to men who do not know. And when these criminals go out to commit their crimes, when they go out to block road to keep people who are passing by, when they go out to carry out cattle rustling, when they go out to graze people's farm, they don't discuss with the community. They don't discuss with their stakeholders most times. They commit this crime, then retaliation will come to the community. So I think we must have sincere conversation. I think the youth must take their destiny in their hand and stop being agent of devil. Then there's an issue of forgiveness. We must learn to forgive. That's one of the major issues we have in Plateau and other parts of the country. We have refused to forgive each other. We don't trust each other. We suspect each other. I don't agree that every Fulani man is a criminal. I don't agree that every Fulani man is a terrorist. I'm sure the Mufan do not agree this too. And I don't think any Fulani man thinks the whole Plateau people are criminals. It is not correct. The entire Plateau people are not criminal. It's just 50% of criminals who are carrying out these acts. So the community must build a structure of coming together and expose criminals. Until we begin to expose criminals, we will not get it right. On a daily basis, we arrest criminals in the community where I'm serving as a local government chairman. We are hated for it, we are spoken against, but my major intention is to protect the community. So the government must go beyond speaking out. The government must be bold to expose criminals from any divide. When you commit crime, it should be seen as a criminal and not to be seen as a particular tribe. This is one of my propositions.
As a security consultant, let us hear your ratings of intelligence gathering around the plateau. That's on one side. And do you think that these attacks are motivated by business criminality or they are politically motivated?
Like I said earlier, we have this attack is in threefold. We have the political aspect of it. Some people who don't want the government to succeed are trying to make the state ungoverning for him. Secondly, we have the issue of unresolved issue of farmer assessment, unresolved issue, whether we like it or not. Thirdly, we have the issue of sponsored criminals who are there. And these sponsored criminals emanate from this issue of farmer assessment that are unresolved. There are several issues on the ground that are unresolved. So I think the best thing to do is to develop intelligence, to know those issues, bring them to table, the ones that are genuine, and we resolve them.
All right, but following, can you hear me? But following what you've been talking about, and we are saying that the governor is doing a great job. My question is, are you aware that some of the eyewitnesses that were there when it happened said that they were vigilante when the unknown gunmen came and they were just shooting sporadically? Now, my question is, how equipped are these people we put there in terms of security? Are they well equipped?
The vigilance group are not meant to ward off any attackers. They are just meant to develop intelligence. They ought not to have been there in the first place. All they needed to do was to pass the required intelligence to Operation Safe Haven, a very capable federal government security arm that will have faced attackers. They have no business being there, particularly because they don't have the required arms. The law does not allow the required arms. So what are they doing in the forefront? All they needed to have done was to have intelligence, because these communities, before the attack, there's usually deep intelligence, there's usually credible intelligence. It's just that some people don't trust our security agencies. For how long are we going to be working without trusting our security agencies? Like Operation Safe Haven now that we have on the plateau is doing so much. It's headed by a very serious commander. By a very serious commander. Let me use the opportunity to praise the commander of Operation White Stroke in Benue State, who is doing so well. He's doing so well in terms of security. Naturally, Benue State would have been up in flame as it stands today. Likewise to Plateau. The new commander is doing so well. So I think we must learn to trust them. We must learn to work with them very, very closely so as not to have this casualty on a daily basis. We can't continue to work with them in distrust. Give them credible intelligence and follow it up until these criminals are apprehended. The major causes of conflict on the plateau, Benue State, and other parts of the country today, I think is headed by criminality and not a particular tribe. I'm not somebody who's stereotyped tribe. We must face criminals.
Wow. They actually describe Plateau State as a microcosm of the Nigerian society, where you have different multi-ethnic group looking at the demography and all of that. But they struggle with this political identity. You wear the cap as a council chairman and a security consultant and a mediator when it comes to conflict. You've actually spearheaded the Agatu, communal crises and all of that. Are there lessons, or is there a leaf they can borrow from the peace that has been enjoyed over, for several years in Agatu, from Agatu, by Plateau State, in relation to what is happening in Plateau State? Are there some things that they can learn from your own community?
Let me just put it very straight. When I got to Agatu community on the 7th of October last year, I met a community in Shambu. I met a community where 15 communities were taken over by these mindless bandits who occupied our community. But what we did was not to fight. We engaged stakeholders from all the divide to talk. And as soon as we started talking, having this conversation, we spoke to the issues. They brought out issues of criminals. They brought out several issues. We brought out our own grievance too. We sat down, and through the dialogue table, we were able to resolve that issue where these persons apologized publicly to Nigerians to hear. So like I've always mentioned, we didn't use one barrier of God. Up till today, one person has not been killed in Agatu for 6 months since I'm a local government chairman. That is the longest period that people have not been killed in Agatu since 2013 that this crisis started. That's the longest period. Go to anywhere and contradict me. What are you doing differently? We are speaking to all the issues. We are doing the issue of justice. People must have this sense of justice. Everybody must be carried along. We must drop out sentiment and look at every Nigerian as Nigerian, no matter his tribe, no matter his religion, no matter his business. We must open our heart to the issues. This is just a sure way to go. But if you start looking at this one, like this one is not my own, this one is not my own, these are my killers, these are not my killers, it won't work. I'm going to be very bold with you. People may not like us, but the blatant truth is that people must be treated as one. We must treat every Nigerian as Nigeria, then work together to isolate the criminals. So I think what they should borrow from Agatu is very simple. They should talk, have sincere conversation. Criminals must be arrested and they must be kept behind bar. The good people from all the divide must come together and identify the criminal. What we have in Agatu today, it is the other side, our other brothers, that hand over some of the criminal to us. And when our boys commit crime against them, we hand them over to the appropriate authority. We are working together in synergy. When incident happens, we don't look at them as a criminal. We look at the issue as criminals. We look at the entire issue as the issue of criminality, and we sit together and say, look, who did this act? Who carried out this act? Okay, let's work together. Go your own way. I go my own way. Let's bring out these criminals together and solve this problem. And that's what we're able to do. And that's what we did to keep Agatu peaceful. One gun has not been shot in Agatu since we started this issue of peace process.
Quickly, Melvin, talking about Benue State, just yesterday, Otobi community in Akpa district of Otukpo local government area was attacked. And the question I want to ask is, if other local government heads are not in communication with you to perhaps borrow the blueprints that you are using in Agatu, for instance, and develop it in their own local government area and ensure that they, build this defense against the attacks of these persons that just come in, attack people, mindlessly kill people, and move on. Just, I think last week, the governor of the state, Reverend Father Alia, just said that he cannot guarantee the safety of anybody coming into the state. They must take permission before coming into the state. How do we address this?
Let me start by condemning the mindless killing of innocent lives in Otukpo local government. That is very mindless, barbaric. We are aware that there may be some provocation, but the community did not provoke the actions. So I think we should see beyond mob action in attacking communities. Whatever issues that may have caused this conflict can be resolved on the table. They should bring it forward, report your issues to the local government council. The chairman of the local government, my brother and colleague, Masu Ogiri, is a very serious chairman. I'm sure if these issues are brought to him, he would have resolved it. So going to the community to attack people is so mindless. And talking about my governor, my dear governor, talking about not guaranteeing the security of anybody. You see, as the chief security officer of the state, he knows better than all of us. He's the chief security officer. This is actually my job to protect Peter Obi from an incident he may not know, because the protocols were breached in that visit. In fairness to the governor, protocols were breached. Protocols were not properly followed. How can such a public figure just walk into the state by just mere phone calls? There should be some arrangement, there should be some protocol arrangement before he can come in. What if he comes to the state and something happened to him? You are going to an IDP camp. You don't know the route. You don't know the terrain. How do you just walk into an IDP camp? What if something happened to him? The governor will be held responsible. So for people blaming the governor, it's very unfortunate that they don't look beyond sentiment. They don't look beyond politics. That it's politics taken too far. The governor spoke the truth. He spoke to the issues. Protocols were breached. And I think as the chief secretary officer, he needs to take responsibility.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
have to leave the conversation here. Melvin Eje, Executive Chairman, Agatu Local Government Area of Benue State, Security Consultant and Conflict Mediator. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.